Welcome to Secure Strides, the podcast where we explore technology policy, cybersecurity, and digital trust, all towards advancing safety and security in today's connected world. In each episode, we'll talk to professionals, academics, and industry leaders about the latest trends, challenges, and solutions in cybersecurity. This is the show for you if you're preparing for the jobs of the future or working towards creating secure and reliable digital systems. Secure Strides is your guide to succeed in the digital age and understand the ever-changing world of cybersecurity. Welcome, Dianah, to the Secure Strides podcast. So you are a bilingual information and communication technology lawyer focused on prosecuting, regulating, and preventing cybercrime. How did you get into this field?
Thank you so much, Shima, for having me. It's really great to be here. My journey into ICT and cyber law was largely driven by my dedication to create a safer digital environment, and also, of course, my fascination with the intersection of technology and law. And early in my career, after obtaining my Master of Laws degree in Law and Information Technology from Stockholm University and Information and Communication Technology Law from University of Oslo, I recognized the growing impact of cyber threats and the urgent need for a robust legal framework to address these challenges. So what truly inspired me is to focusing on prosecution, regulating, and preventing cybercrime was the dynamic and ever-evolving nature of cyber threats. And these, as we know, are not just technical challenges, but they are also deeply intertwined with legal and society issues. So seeing the real-world impact of cybercrime, such as online fraud and child exploitation, fueled this passion to contribute effectively to this field.
When I read about cyber crimes and issues in our digital space in Africa, it seems like we're still battling basic level problems. From what you said, it really does seem like prosecuting online crime can seem like trying to boil the ocean because there's so many factors, there's so many players that you need to collaborate with. What would you say are some of the top challenges that are faced by legal professionals like yourselves working in cybercrime?
That's true. I do agree with you. If you consider our African perspective, you realize that most of the things that we are dealing with are things, for example, like mobile money theft, bank fraud. The emails comes, those have been there for several years. Those were actually the first crimes that we were seeing, the first cyber crimes we were seeing that involved an individual deceiving another individual. And also we've had phishing. We have issues or cases that just stop at police and they don't go beyond police. So we find that we have, in actual records, we have numbers that are less than what is actually happening. We have the technical challenges, of course, and then we also have the legal challenges. The nature of cybercrime is in a way that it's borderless, so it's transnational, anywhere in the world. And because of this, the biggest issue we have is the jurisdiction aspect of which court has the powers to try a particular case. Also, we have an issue of access and sharing of data across borders. And of course, different countries have different legal frameworks, different laws and enforcement agencies. So it becomes, when prosecuting cyber criminals becomes quite a challenge because different countries have different legal systems. And then also as lawyers, we have a challenge of keeping up with technology. The law definitely lags behind technological advancements, and technology really moves very fast. So staying updated and understanding these technologies is very important. However, it's a challenge for us, for us lawyers. Another challenge as prosecutors is evidence collection and preservation. With the digital nature of evidence in cybercrime, well, definitely you need a particular kind of skill to collect this evidence and preserve it. And to ensure that this evidence is also admissible, it's evidence that is accepted in court. So that is one of our greatest challenges, and of course, capacity and the resources. We have that a capacity and resource constraints in regards to the expertise that is needed to tackle cybercrime effectively. There's really a shortage of trained personnel, especially in Africa.
I'm going to take you back to an earlier comment that you made, and you were talking about your answer having to collaborate with the technical team because, as a lawyer, your strength is in understanding and interpreting the law, right? And leading the prosecution. You guys aren't the tech experts, so you still have to collaborate with, the technical guys or gals. I wanted you to sort of speak to how you navigate that, and also just the importance of communication and collaboration, those soft skills in cybersecurity.
As a cyber lawyer, something that I didn't mention, we need to get the basics, at least the technical basics that we can get. So the first thing, the technique that I use is to start with the basic when having a conversation with these technical guys. I start with the basic and then ask them further and probe further to know or to inquire how some things work. So if I have a particular case and I really want to know, okay, how do you trace the location of an IP address? Of course, I will know the basics and then explain it to them and tell them, this is what I have. Can you help me trace this, and this? Of course, their language is a lot technical, but what we do is we get people who can break it down to a common man's language.
I can't overemphasize how important communication and just being able to collaborate. It's a skill set that will pay you for years and years, in cybersecurity. You touched on quite a lot of the challenges of prosecuting in cybersecurity. What role would you say you see regional collaborations and partnerships playing in harmonizing our laws and processes in cybersecurity across Africa?
I think regional collaborations would play a big role in establishing strong legal framework amongst the different countries. The legal framework, cybersecurity legal frameworks are really important because they help define cybercrimes, they help build regional and continental cooperation. And then I think regional collaboration would also enhance partnerships. Remember, I mentioned that cybercrime is cross-border. The regional collaborations enable enhancing legal harmonization and also standardizing cybersecurity framework. If you have regional partnerships, you find that African countries would work together to harmonize their national laws with regional agreements. For example, in Africa, we have the African Union Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection. And you find that such harmonization helps address legal disparities that could hinder digital trade and information exchange across borders. So it's necessary to create a more uniform legal landscape for cyber issues. And also, regional collaborations would enable countries to share best practices. and also share expertise. As I mentioned, we have that skills gap. So regional collaborations will definitely do that. They would help countries share best practices, expertise, and resources in cybersecurity. So that would benefit countries. It would be beneficial for countries with limited cybersecurity capabilities, and it allows them to leverage the advancements and experiences of their neighbors to bolster their own cyber defenses. And then also, collaborative efforts usually lead to joint capacity building initiatives, such as regional training programs, workshops, and seminars that aim to raise the level of expertise in cybersecurity. As I mentioned earlier on, if you have, for example, regional capacity building initiative for judges, for example, our regional training programs for judges, that would be really good because as an initiative, it would address the skills shortage in cybersecurity domain and also train new generation of cyber professionals, equipping them to be able to handle unique challenges faced in the African continent. And then also, regional collaborations would bring about coordinated response to cyber incidents. It would definitely facilitate a coordinated response such as threats, enhancing the collective ability to respond and to recover from cyber incidents. And also this coordination would be crucial in mitigating the impact of large-scale cyber attacks on national and regional stability. And of course, also when you work together as a region on cybersecurity issues, you find that the African countries will build trust and confidence amongst themselves.
Absolutely.
And improved trust is definitely crucial for the development of the digital economy, where security and reliability are paramount. So it encourages more significant investment and participation in the digital economy from both from within Africa and from the international stakeholders. And also regional collaborations would amplify the voice of individual countries in advocating for more significant attention and resources dedicated to cybersecurity on both continental and global stages. And this unified approach would definitely increase the political will and funding allocated to cybersecurity initiatives. So I think those would be the roles of regional collaborations and partnerships, which are essential in harmonizing cybersecurity laws and fostering a secure, resilient digital infrastructure that supports Africa's socioeconomic development goals.
I know when it comes to cybersecurity across the continent, and you're the legal expert here, I know that we have a lot of laws. Some have been enacted, some are, still going through the legislative processes in their various countries. But I wanted you to speak to sort of the state of implementation of cybersecurity laws.
Usually when I get that question, I can speak for forever. Mm-hmm. You'll notice, or maybe someone will tell you that in Africa we have laws, so many laws, not only cybersecurity laws or not only cyber laws, but we have so many laws that are enacted. But now the problem comes in with effective implementation of those particular laws. Our biggest problem in Africa, in my opinion, and my observation is that we normally copy laws that are not applicable in our own context.
That is true.
You'll find that, for example, we will get a European law which is only applicable to the European context because, as we know, Europe is far developed. They have better infrastructure, they have better mechanisms, or different mechanisms, I would say. We may also have our better mechanisms for our context, but now the problem is we pick laws which will most likely be challenging to apply in our own context. I could give an example. This cuts across many African countries. You'll find that in Uganda and East Africa, we mostly use mobile money. Okay, so probably, since I know that the audience will be a diverse audience, let me just share with you on how it works in Uganda and East Africa, for example. In Uganda, we have something that is called mobile money. So mobile money is an electronic transaction where you can send money from one account to another using a mobile phone. You can also send money from your bank account to your mobile phone. Now, this is the thing, you do not need the internet to do so, to carry out that electronic mobile money transaction. And that works really perfect for us in this context. You can make purchase of goods and transfer the money to someone just on their phone, even if it's an analog phone. It doesn't have to be a smartphone. So when you look at that, that is an electronic transaction, purely electronic transaction. Although at the end of it all, someone will have to go and withdraw that money if they don't want it on their phone and they want it cash. But then in the developed countries or the more advanced countries, they don't have such a technique. Theirs is different, and theirs is, again, an electronic transaction, but an electronic transaction where you need the internet, and then you probably move money you can move money from your account to another, and then you can also use, of course, the different card payments because of the different securities, the strong security that they provide that align with the requirements of their law. And you won't hear something called mobile money there, transaction, which is different
from our context.
From our context, yes. So when you're providing a law that regulates mobile money, you may have to understand how mobile money works and also understand how that electronic transaction works, which is quite different from the electronic transaction in an advanced country, So when you simply copy a law that is from a different context to our African context, you find that the applicability becomes extremely complicated, challenging, because of so in Africa, we need to contextualize our laws for them to be able to work. I know the cyber crimes are quite the same, but you find that the mode in which they are carried out is a little bit different. So again, contextualizing becomes very, very important for us to be able to know what will work for us and what will not work for us. So understanding our African context is the only way we can be able to have enact laws that will definitely work. Of course, we need comprehensive legislation in addressing the cybercrime issue. We need also comprehensive cybersecurity and data protection laws. In most of the African countries, you'll find that cybersecurity, cybercrime is not really a priority in this case. We'll find that we have other things prioritized over cybercrime. Yes, of course, we have the existing criminal laws. We have the criminal laws which are there, but cybercrime in particular and cybersecurity is not a priority because we've not really had a major hit to say that, okay, let us prioritize this. But in future, as we are evolving and developing, there's no way we can avoid cybersecurity issues. And cyber threats are really advancing so fast. Soon, we are going to probably realize that it's something we need to prioritize. So comprehensive legislation is very important, together with effective enforcement mechanisms of we don't just simply have to enact a lot of laws, but we have to find a way of having an effective enforcement mechanism. So this involves building technological capacity. We've talked about these public-private partnerships, regional and international cooperation, judicial and law enforcement training, and of course, public awareness campaigns, which would be very important. We also need to continuously review and update our cybersecurity laws, and also work with the technical team to know how we can recover in case of any cyber attack, because recovery is very important. You find that you have a cyber attack, but you've not recovered. So having so many laws does not mean that you're going to stop cyber attacks, because that is impossible. It's impossible. But having the laws to show that, of course, the society has the criminal laws to show that the society has to act in a certain way, and if it doesn't, if someone commits a cybercrime, then that means there are consequences to that, and also a recovery mechanism of making sure that if someone has, for example, hacked into a system and an institution has lost a lot of money due to that, how does that institution recover this money after this perpetrator has been got? So recovery is very important. We have, as a region, we have the African Union Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection, which has not been promoted so much. You can imagine, as of now, we have only 15 countries that have ratified it, which is quite low compared to the 54, 55 countries that we have in Africa. And also, dealing with cybercrime does not entail only one law. You can have a law on computer misuse, or a law that provides the crimes or activities which are considered as a crime. Then we'll need these laws have to work hand in hand with privacy and data protection laws, and also work hand in hand with the already existing laws and other. It's a whole umbrella of laws that have to work hand in hand with each other, including the procedure. So we have the substantive laws and the procedure laws that need to work all together to be able to deal with this with cybercrime. So I think, back to your question, I think contextualizing is the most important thing. Yes. Yeah.
As we wrap up, I'd want us to talk about advocating for women in cybersecurity. We met via the UNODC African Women in Cyber group. There may be a lawyer out there listening, and maybe she's thought, there's no space for me in cybersecurity, or there's no space for me in tech. What advice would you give to someone? Where are the opportunities when it comes to technology law practice? What are some of the trends and challenges that you may see that may come into play in the next couple of years?
The first thing that you asked is what advice I would give to young women interested in pursuing a career in cyber law or in cybersecurity. Well, I would advise them to build a solid educational background in relevant areas such as computer science, information technology, law or cybersecurity, and these specialized degrees and certifications can significantly enhance their knowledge and credentials. And also, continuous learning is really important, key. So I would advise them to always look for opportunities to further their education through workshops, courses, and seminars, and also would advise them to gain the practical experience. And they could seek internships, volunteer opportunities, or even entry-level positions that allow them to work in real-world problems. And then I would also encourage them to develop technical and legal skills. Of course, the cybersecurity and cyber law are fields that require a combination of technical skills and legal knowledge. So if someone is to gain both, it would really be important in regards to that area. And then networking and finding mentors. Networking is very important. Spending time on LinkedIn, looking at people who are in a particular field that you're interested in, reaching out to them, asking for mentorship is one way of growing in your career. So I would definitely recommend that, and staying updated with the industrial trends of what is happening, and also importantly to advocate for yourself. Be your own advocate and advance your career, which is very important, and also building confidence and embracing a multidisciplinary approach is something that would help with their career advancement. So the challenges as cyber lawyers that I see, there's a lot of increased sophisticated cyber attacks. As the technology advances, so do the techniques of cyber criminals. We see a lot of sophisticated cyber attacks, and now we have those ones which are also AI driven, and it's really hard to be able to learn or detect these attacks. And I really see that as a challenge, as technologies do advance. I see a challenge in inadequate regulations. For example, you find that different countries in Africa don't quite have, the legal framework is limited in regards to cybersecurity issues. So it's a lot of gamble here and there. And then also, of course, a talent shortage in cybersecurity. So despite the fact that the threat landscape is growing, there's a persistent shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals in Africa itself. And you find that even when people get the skills in cybersecurity, they will not practice in Africa. Instead, they'll go somewhere else. So there's really a big gap to the skill set. There's a shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals in Africa that we really need to address. And of course, education and awareness. These campaigns are not prioritized. We have only one month in a year. So it doesn't have to be in October. I believe it can be any time. It can even be more than 3 months a year. It can be once a month, twice a month. I believe it should be continuous. So I believe there's also that challenge of education and awareness, which we as cyber lawyers need to consider, and also the cybersecurity experts. And I'm hoping in future that will be something that we can work on. I'll start this year, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dianah. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your insights as a cybersecurity legal professional. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Doshima, for having me. It's really been a privilege sharing on the show, and I hope that the viewers will give feedback, and I hope that we'll have more engagement and you'll have me again someday.